We're even now. I hurt you. You hurt me. We're equal. I hear this phrase in my office with haunting frequency, and every time it is followed by a silence filled with despair. Welcome. Today, we are embarking on a difficult journey into the very epicenter of mutual infidelity. This is a situation where both partners have crossed the line, and now they are trying to build a home on the ashes of their former lives. We are used to dividing the world into victim and betrayer, but what do we do when both are both? Today, we trace the full story of Victor and Marina. We will break down not only their actions, but the catastrophic trap of the mind that makes us think revenge can bring relief. We will study the trauma of the aggressor and find the answer. Can a relationship be saved when the foundation of trust has been blown up twice? Prepare yourself. This will be open heart surgery on your relationship. Act 1. The beginning of the end. It all started with Victor. His infidelity was not spontaneous. It was a classic escape from routine, from responsibility, from himself. He was convinced his little secret would never surface, that it was just a parallel reality that didn't touch his marriage. But a lie is not just words, it is energy. Marina felt the cold long before she saw the actual message. Victor thought he was just looking for a thrill, but in reality, he was methodically removing the bricks from the foundation of their shared home. He created a vacuum of trust. When the truth came out, it wasn't just a scandal, it was an explosion that destroyed Marina's entire world. She learned that the last years of her life had been a fiction. A shadow covered their bedroom. The silence became so thick, you could cut it with a knife. Victor became the betrayer. But he didn't yet know that he had started a chain reaction that would soon hit him just as hard. In this act, we see how the first crack becomes an abyss. When the shock wore off, the rage arrived. Marina felt humiliated, trampled, destroyed. And her brain, in an attempt to survive, suggested an exit as ancient as the world. Make him hurt just as much. This is called reactive infidelity. It is not a search for love. It is an act of retribution. Marina wanted to regain control, to feel desirable, and above all, to see in Victor's eyes the same pain that was tearing her apart. She cheated, not because she stopped loving him, but because it was too painful to love him. She wanted to even the score. She thought it would bring relief, that the scales of justice would level out. But psychology is not mathematics. When she returned home that night, she did not taste victory. She tasted ash. This is the story of how the victim becomes the executioner, hoping to save themselves, but instead locks themselves in the same cell as their offender. Now, 2 betrayers lived in their home. Let's stop and break down the main myth. Many couples believe in the magic of equality. They think that 2 infidelities annihilate each other, like plus and minus. Now we're even, we can start with a clean slate. But in the psychology of human souls, 1 + 1 never equals 0. 2 infidelities do not make you even. They make you twice as wounded, twice as lonely, and twice as unable to trust. There is no equality here, only a shared catastrophe. Marina thought her act would erase Victor's act. But the truth is that now there isn't 1 secret in the room, there are 2. Not 1 hole in trust, there are 2. We explore the concept of moral legalization, when one partner uses the other's sin as an indulgence for their own fall. It is a road to the hell of mutual destruction. The light here is cold and dead. You haven't equalized your rights. You've equalized your disenfranchisement. You have both lost the right to demand loyalty, and that is the most terrifying loss for intimacy. A month later, we see Victor and Marina in my office. It was not a battlefield, it was a cemetery. The atmosphere was dead. Victor was furious about Marina's affair, but his fury was paralyzed by his own guilt. He couldn't scream, "How could you?" because the echo answered, "And how could you?" Marina was in a deep depression, realizing that revenge had not brought healing, but had only added shame to her pain. This state is what I call double shame, or an emotional coma. In a healthy conflict, there is a victim to be comforted and a culprit to make amends. Here, those roles have merged. There is no one to be an anchor, no one to forgive, because each is desperately in need of forgiveness, but feels they have no right to it. Trust at this point is dust being gathered by hands in the dark. They began to demonize each other. We're both trash. This is a dead end from which there is no exit through the logic of justice. Let's talk about what is usually kept silent, about the pain of the one who cheated in return. Marina thought she would become strong, but she became broken. The trauma of the aggressor is a state where a person violates their own moral principles for the sake of revenge. Marina was not a cheater by nature. For her, loyalty was a core value. By betraying Victor, she betrayed not only him, she betrayed herself. And this pain, the pain of losing self-respect, is often stronger than the pain of a partner's betrayal. She looked in the mirror and did not recognize the woman reflected there. She felt dirty. In this act, we break down how revenge destroys the soul of the avenger. She wanted to punish Victor, but she punished herself. She deprived herself of the right to be right, the right to be clean. And now she needs to forgive not only her husband, but that strange woman she became for one night. This is the most difficult stage of therapy, regaining your dignity after a fall. Without this, recovery is impossible. Is salvation possible after a 1-1 score? My professional answer, yes. But on one harsh condition. You must acknowledge your first marriage is dead. It is gone. You cannot fix it, glue it, or get it back to the way it was. There is nothing to return to. Act 6 is a funeral. Victor and Marina had to mourn their old relationship. They had to admit that the couple who vowed eternal loyalty had perished under the debris of lies. And only on these ashes, on absolutely scorched earth, is it possible that they can build something new, marriage number 2 with the same person. But it will be a completely different contract, without illusions, with a full understanding of the darkness both are capable of. This is the point of reset. There is no room here for reproaches. There are only 2 naked people standing on the ruins and asking, do we want to try again? This is the most honest moment of their lives, and the most terrifying. Only by accepting the death of the old can you give a chance to the new. What does the path up from this pit look like? Act 7, radical responsibility. To survive, Victor and Marina had to learn to answer each for their own sin, without looking at the other. Victor had to take full responsibility for his infidelity, without justifying it with Marina's behavior. I betrayed us first, and it is my fault. Marina had to take full responsibility for her revenge, without justifying it with the pain from Victor's act. I chose to strike back, and it is my fault. As long as they say, I did this because you, they are at a dead end. Healing begins when they say, I did this because I broke. We learn to separate these 2 crimes. It is not one big dirty spot. These are 2 separate wounds, each of which must be treated separately. Only when you stop using your partner's sin as a shield for your conscience does a chance for dialogue appear. This requires colossal courage. It is a total renunciation of the victim role. It is the path to adult love. It is the only way out. But we must be honest to the end. Sometimes a 1.1 score is not a starting point, but a final whistle. Sometimes the foundation is so destroyed that building on it is life-threatening. In my office, Victor and Marina realized that they had become trauma triggers for each other. And in this act, we speak of the fact that divorce is not always a failure. Sometimes it is an act of supreme mercy. To let each other go so as not to turn the rest of your lives into an endless exchange of reproaches. This is an expression of love. Love for oneself and for who the partner could become without you. We break down how to part ecologically when the baggage is so heavy. How to forgive at the last moment so as not to carry this poison into future relationships. Sometimes even means free from each other. And in this too, there is its own bitter but necessary truth. Liberation is also a form of healing. Let go of the chain. You both deserve to breathe. We are approaching the finale of our breakdown. Act 9, the philosophy of forgiveness. Whether you stay together or part ways, you will have to forgive. Not for his or her sake, for your own. To forgive Victor for the betrayal. To forgive Marina for the revenge. And most importantly, to forgive yourself for being at this point. Forgiveness in a 1-1 situation is an abandonment of hope for a better past. It is an acknowledgement. Yes, we both fell. Yes, we both caused evil. But we are both human. Transparent gold light of healing fills the screen. Forgiveness is the only way out of this prison. If you don't forgive, You will carry this 1.1 score into your next relationship, into your life, into your body. The choice is yours, to remain an accountant of others' sins or to become the author of your own new clean page. The truth is that there is no score in love. There is only a choice, to continue the war or to choose peace. Choose yourself. Choose peace. Now I am looking at you. We have passed through the hell of others' mistakes. But where are you? 10-second pause. Do you keep score in your love? Do you keep a stone in your pocket in case of an attack? Do you think your pain gives you the right to be cruel? If you are currently in Victor and Marina's situation, stop. Right now. Stop counting who is more to blame. It doesn't matter. Only one thing matters. Is there anything living left under this mountain of pain? Any spark of warmth? If yes, fight for it, but fight honestly, dropping your weapons. If not, have the courage to leave without burning the remnants of your humanity. Infidelity is not a game. There is no draw here. Here, either both lose their lives or both begin to learn to love anew from an absolute, terrifying zero. Make a choice today, not to be a victim, not to be an executioner, to be alive. I believe in your strength. Your life is waiting for you. Our journey is coming to an end. Remember, there are no dead-end situations, only unpleasant decisions. Your pain is real, but it must not become your prison forever. Write in the comments, do you believe in life after such a score? Is equality and infidelity a chance or a finale? I will be waiting for your stories, because each of them is a lesson for all of us. Subscribe to the Family Therapy with Maria channel. We are not here to judge. We are here to look the truth in the eye and find light even in the deepest darkness. You will manage. Until next time, take care of your soul. The truth sets you free. Love is not a feeling, it is a practice of truth. Goodbye for now. Ambient silence.